Majapahit in 1.31 has a horrible start with an actual disaster from the very beginning, but if you watch this guide until the end, you learn how to turn this horrible nation into a great empire in just a few years. Legion, and welcome to my channel. My name is Ludi, and today we're going to be discussing our Majapahit starting move guide for the 1.31 update. And this guide will be going over the initial diplomatic situation, and we will be discussing how to get rid of the active disaster. We'll go over the missions, early wars, later expansion, and even the ideas that you should go for. If we get 1,000 likes on this video, I'm also going to do another guide for the nation of Malacca. And if you do enjoy watching content such as this, consider subscribing. It would really mean the world to me and encourage me to make more videos like these in the future. So when it comes to your initial diplomatic situation, what you need to take into account is the fact that you actually have some tributaries. You have 4 of them, albeit that's not going to help you out too much. It is important because we need to take into account our 3 vital initial missions: demand loyalty, restore order, and protect the faith. You need to do all 3 of these missions to get rid of the disaster that you start off with and get the +1 Diplo relations modifier until the end of the game. To get these 3 missions done, we need to have 5 tributaries, and we have 4. It can be tributaries or subjects actually, so it's best to get a vassal, which means you're gonna have 5 subjects. Restore order, basically you just need to up your stability to 2 and maintain your legitimacy, but there's an issue with that because your starting heir is pretty trash, so you want to actually disinherit this guy, and that's going to cause a lot of probs because these guys are going to start getting a little bit more disloyal. We are going to, however, give out the patronage of the arts after we've disinherited our heir, otherwise it will be an issue with prestige. Take note, the active disaster that we have, namely the fall of Majapahit, gives you minus 50% average monarch lifespan, which means that your starting king might die within the next 10 years. It also gives out power cost plus 15 and liberty desire plus 15%. We're gonna go for our deity, and I recommend that you get the Diplo reputation one for your starting deity, and you can change this as you go along, but it is important that you get the extra Diplo rep at the start. If you can get a Diplo rep advisor or a trade efficiency one, that would be perfect also, and the discipline of or morale of armies for your military advisor. When it comes to your estates, we're gonna go ahead and summon the diet and go for whichever agenda best suits us, followed up by seizure of land, Brahmin council for the Brahmins, right of council and supremacy over the crown for the Kshatriyas, and for the merchant guild, free enterprises, private trade fleets, tropical city planning, and the patronage of the arts after you've disinherited the heir. Rival wise, you're gonna be rivaling Sunda and Brunei, and we want to fully annex Sunda. We managed to get some claims from the summoning of the diet, otherwise you would have to normally manually get these claims and might take a little bit of time, but because we don't need to do that, we can just attack them on the 11th of December with the conquest CB. One more important thing to note: in the city of Kota Gede, you have 2 monuments, the Borobudur temple as well as the Prambana temple, but they're not built, so you have to build these up. One of these you would have to be Theravada Buddhist, which would give you culture conversion cost modifier globally and promoted cultures, and the other one, which you can build without having to go to another religious group, is the dev cost minus 15% globally, missionaries +1 and missionary strength. Now the thing is, because of this freaking temple here, you can play toll like crazy. Mix this in with the other ideas and modifiers, and your nation is going to be ridiculously strong to be playing toll as, especially since you start off with 7 grassland provinces from the very first day and an extra 2 tropical forest, which you get a reduction from the tropical city planning, so that's cool too. Alliance wise, you can probably get a few allies here and there. I recommend that you don't get anyone as an ally that you have intentions of expanding into. Instead, I recommend that you start getting claims on Makassar, since we want to start attacking Makassar and expanding into this area, so that further on we can expand into the rich cloves area. The new added trade good into 1.31, namely cloves, is ridiculously strong and can only be found within this actual area, nowhere else on the map, so you want to secure this before anybody else secures it. The Majapahit mission tree might not be massive, but it is ridiculously strong with a ton of permanent modifiers. All of the right hand side of the mission tree is permanent modifiers for certain provinces. Once you get these provinces, provinces under your control and you build certain buildings. The first 3 missions you get that I was talking about before are easy done. The hardest one is Protect the Faith, where you just need to wait for 10 years with the fall of Majapahit disaster active, so that means until 54. After you've prevented the disaster, you get 2 choices. Left hand side focuses on giving you extra dev cost reduction till the end of the game, changes your rank to an empire, and a special event triggers. The right hand side gives you Buddha as a personality for your Hinduistic religion, and this is going to be unique to Majapahit. And the second one lets you propagate religion as a Hindu nation, as well as going to convert to Hindu quite a few provinces within the world. To get the middle part of the mission tree done, you need to have 6 tributaries or subjects that have below 20% liberty desire, and if they are tributaries, they will become vassals with a minus 100 liberty desire, all of them. And you also get a CB against all Malay primary culture nations in the game. You also have 3 missions that give you special 50% settlers in all of the uncolonized provinces within the Indonesian archipelago, so that means it's going to be really easy for you to colonize these provinces before the Europeans even get to this area. You can also get the Majapahit campaign casus belli against Chinese tech group countries, and with the conquest of the Indo-Chinese peninsula itself, you get the Majapahit campaign against all countries in the world. That means you get the special CB against everybody in the world, and this can actually be attained pretty early in the game. In fact, if you're smart with this, within 50 years, you can get this CB, which is equivalent to imperialism. Thus, if you survive the early game, Majapahit can be extremely overpowered. Okay guys, now it's really important that you follow exactly the steps that I'm going to show you. You're going to recruit a general, you're going to send your army by the border with Sunda here, and you're also going to be recruiting the free company, which means that we're going to have to take a couple of loans in order to recruit the free company. It is not a big deal. We really need to have this free company because once the next month ticks, we're going to get -5 stability and a massive increase in liberty desire for our vassals. So before the month even ticks, I want you to do the following thing. This mission, we need to have 5 vassals, or better yet subjects, to lower everybody's liberty desire by 10%. This also prevents the disloyalty to Majapahit event from occurring, and we really don't want that event from happening. Really easy to fix that is you just release in the province of Kendal the nation of Diplomac, and with Diplomac released, we now have 5 subjects. We can do this mission, thus nobody's gonna be super disloyal, and we get rid of a really nasty event. We still will have another really nasty event in 1 month, and I'm gonna let the month tick so you guys see what I'm talking about here. Don't forget to also send your light ships to protect the trade in the Malaccas, which is your main trade node. Another thing to note is that Sunda 90% of the times is gonna ally one of your tributaries. Sometimes they ally Palembang, sometimes they ally Blambangan. Whichever they ally, you need to be ready for that, so you can send one of your armies to fight your tributary, since they are a tributary, so that means they will still join on Sunda's side even though they're your tributary. In that case, personally, I prefer to just annex them also, so you basically get rid of 2 problems with 1 stone. And there you go, the month has ticked. You got -5 stab, lose 50 legitimacy, and claim of air -50. Do not accept this just yet because we don't want to have the -5 stab just yet. We are going to be attacking and co-belligerating whatever allies they have if that doesn't bring in more nations into the war. So we're going to declare our war here, and we are at war with both our neighbor Sunda as well as with our tributary, and we will actually just annex the tributary in this war. I am going to point out that you need to keep your troops close together, especially I've noticed Sunda likes to stack wipe the free company stack whenever they get a chance, so don't let them do that, especially if your free company has low morale. You want to be careful with what happens. Same thing with your light ships, make sure they don't snipe your light ships. And we also got another air, and this guy is actually pretty decent, 344, way better than the 011 that we started with. Still not gonna click this event until I absolutely am forced to, which is in probably 2 months from now. Try to intercept the enemy army whenever they lock in a movement so that they cannot retreat from that battle afterwards. And there you go, we won the battle. Now we can just carpet siege everything else around here. Now that we finished the siege of Blambangan, we're gonna piece them out, absolutely completely annex them, as they do have a province in the East Java state that we also have a few provinces of ourselves. And when it comes to Sunda, we cannot actually fully annex them because it would cost us 107 war score. As such, we cannot cannot also vassalize them, what we will be doing is we'll be taking a few states here and we're going to be leaving them as a 2-province minor nation. If you leave them as a 1-province minor, it might cause you a little bit of extra problems and you might go over your aggressive expansion threshold. If you take only 5 provinces, you also can take some money to fix your economy and you don't need to worry about a coalition. So in the meanwhile, whilst we finish coring everything in this area, we also wait for our aggressive expansion to go down, and after we are ready, we can take the rest of Sunda in the next war. Make sure you lower your exhaustion as much as you can. Do remember that the fall of Majapahit is going to give you increased coring costs, so until we get rid of this disaster, we are coring provinces for a lot more than we should be coring them for. But we do need to secure the mainland of Java to have a power base here, so it's okay to spend a few extra admin points for the time being. Also remember that you're getting your claims on the nation of Makassar, and you should have the claims by now, so attack Makassar. We will be vassalizing Makassar and feeding them all of the rest of this island here so that we don't need to waste admin points there too. And we finished with Makassar. We're gonna peace them out, vassalize them. It's a little bit of aggressive expansion, but because they are in a different religious group, animists namely, nobody cares about them, so it's okay to fully annex or vassalize them. I recommend vassalization because you want to feed them up all of the other lands here because they likely will have cores, and yes, they do have cores on these lands. Of course, why wouldn't they? And by having Makassar take all of these lands, you also don't need to waste your admin points. Do be careful, however, they likely will be very disloyal, so in order to get them loyal, you will have to improve relations with them. Also, it is important that you get your stability 202, which might take a while, but it is really vital since we need 2 stability and 90 legitimacy as one of the prerequisites to prevent the collapse of the Majapahit. One more thing to note is that if you're really struggling with your vassals, then you can always just give out these strong duchies, and I recommend you give this as soon as you can. Also, when you peace out the nations here, make sure you give these lands to your vassals so they don't go directly to you. Always keep getting claims on your neighbors, even if you don't want to fully annex them or anything of the sorts. Having a few wars in 1.31 is actually a good idea since you can always pillage capital and improve your development. Piecing these guys out means that we're going to get a small coalition of nations in this area that we really don't care about, especially the nation of Button here. We're also going to be attacking Luwu, and we're going to be co-belligerating Ternate because Ternate is actually one of the 2 nations that start off with the cloves trade good, and we really want to get that. So we're going to attack these boys, and at the same time, we're going to send an expeditionary force to peace out Ternate, well, to capture, and then afterwards peace out Ternate for that matter. And this siege is finished as well. Now, the thing is, you want to peace out Ternate first because they are not your main target here, and you want to turn them actually into one of your vassals since you cannot core this province if you take it directly. Aside from making them vassal, take the cash, cancel rivals and claims so you get extra prestige from that. Thus, you get super big brain. The main target we're gonna peace out as well. As you can see, the coalition is just themselves and the nation of Button with a sprinkle of Tidor, another nation we really don't care about. Except we do care a little bit since we want to take the other cloves in this province too. Because we cannot claim it ourselves for the time being, we're gonna mark it as a province of vital interest so that our vassal Ternate can get a claim on them so we can use their claim afterwards. And we're gonna do the same thing with the nation of Button here so that our other vassal Makassar can get a claim on them too. And on the 1st of December 1454, that means 10 years after the fall of Majapahit disaster started, you should be able to get rid of it as long as you have below 2 unrest and religious unity at 80%. You should keep this as 100%. You will get an event to turn some of your provinces to Muslim, and you get 500 ducats from turning them to Muslim. Do not take that event. It is the beginning of a very bad chain of events. Don't take it. So if you don't do that and you keep your main island of Java here pacified, that means kill off the rebellions whenever they trigger, and 10 years passed, you get the second mission done, which means the spread of Islam event will no longer trigger. Thus, you cannot get the breakaway state event happen also. Now we just need to do restore order, for which we need to have 2 stability, 90 legitimacy, and less rebel armies than 1. That means no rebel armies. To do this, we need to boost our stability, which is quite easy since we can actually get some modifiers for that, which give us -10 stability cost. And if you get an advisor with -10 as well, it's not that difficult. When it comes to your legitimacy, however, it is a question of boosting it up the good old-fashioned way. Strengthen legitimacy. You will waste some of your military military points, but it is definitely required. Otherwise, your nation's going to be in a lot of trouble if you don't do this. So now the only thing left is to own all of the provinces in central Majapahit. That means we need to integrate Diplomac into our nation, and that means we just annex them. It's going to take us roughly less than a year. So after roughly less than a year, we get rid finally of this horrible event that is the fall of Majapahit. Until that time, however, we are going to be attacking the nation of Sambas, which has a few allies. Kutai, and we're going to co-belligerate Kutai. We're also going to co-belligerate Berai, and even Sunda is in this. We do need to get a diplomat first, so we're going to bring this guy back in order to declare the war, and we're going to fast forward this a little bit to the point where we actually finish the war. And just to show this off, we now can prevent the collapse of Majapahit, giving us +1 diplo relations until the end of the game and 25 prestige. And it also means we don't need to worry about +15 power cost for everything, and we even get a 1 stability, so everything is AO amazing. We're gonna wait until we finish these guys off. What I'm planning is to vassalize one of them and then feed him everything else around this area to basically establish a foothold in this entire area. When it comes to Sunda here, I actually want to fully annex them because I don't want to wait for another 5 years afterwards. It's a little bit of extra aggressive expansion, but it really is just with Buton and Sambas, and I am at war with Sambas and will be at war with Buton soon so that I can feed them to my vassal here. Of course, we're gonna fully core up everything here. Our siege of Kutai is finished, and I've noticed that Kutai is actually at war with another nation here, a Banjar, one of my tributaries. So if I do vassalize Kutai, I will be at war with one of my tributaries, which is something I don't want. So I'm gonna actually vassalize Berau instead. You might be wondering why you don't want to be at war with your tributaries. That is because everybody who's my tributary is gonna become my vassal from my mission tree, and I'll show you that in a few moments. Also, by taking out Sunda, we get relations with Sunda, which gives us some prestige, and it changes the culture of some of the provinces in Sunda to our culture, namely to Javanese. They still have a few provinces, however, that do not change to Javanese. So with our new vassal in Berau, we're gonna give these provinces to them right after the war. We're gonna take them for ourselves right now, take the money as well, and we're gonna ask them to cancel rivals to get extra prestige once more. However, because it's going over our 100% threshold, we're gonna placate rulers in our new vassal once. There's a reason for that, and you'll see that in a few moments right now. Go ahead and do all of this, and we're gonna be giving this to our vassal. Until that point, however, we're also gonna peace out these guys, and we're gonna go for the pillage capital, which is gonna give us, in exchange for 6 aggressive expansion, 6 of their development overall. Also go for war reps and trade power, so you get a bit of extra economic bonuses, and as you can see, not much of a coalition whatsoever. Grant these 2 provinces to your brand new vassal of Berau here, and hope that the other guys are gonna annex this nation completely. Bring your troops over to the border with Brunei as well. And now that we have 1,000 in our treasury, we can also start building up our monument. Go to Pambaran Temple and upgrade the monument to the 1st tier. This will take a little bit of time to upgrade. It's going to take us 10 years. Well, actually, it's going to take us 9 years. If we have any extra cash or manpower, we can lower the amount of time it takes to upgrade the temple, or in our case, to build it first off. So now what we're going to do, and this is a pro gamer move, by the way, we're going to placate these guys once, and we're going to placate a second time till they have below 20% liberty desire. Same thing for these guys. We want to have 6 subjects with below 20% liberty desire, which gives us the enforced loyalty mission that turns every single tributary that we have in a actual vassal. That might pose a few problems, but as long as you placate or improve relations with them, it shouldn't really be much of an issue. So now when we go to our diplo map, as you can see, we have quite a lot of land. In the first 15 years of the game, we've basically established ourselves on the island of Borneo, taken everything from Sulawesi that is not yet colonized, that is already colonized. All of Java is ours as well, and even started establishing ourselves in the Clove Islands, as I like to call them. When it comes to your later expansion, go for Brunei and this nation of Samba, so you finish off everybody in Borneo, expand into Sumatra and into the Malaccan area, so you unify the Indonesian and Malaysian archipelago, followed up by the conquest of Ayutthaya for the sweet Grand Palace of Bangkok, which offers plus 33% governing capacity, yearly absolutism +1, and vassal contribution plus 50%. This is one of the best monuments in the game, by the way. Idea-wise, you start off with some pretty decent ideas, by the way, that include legitimacy, aggressive expansion reduction, and later on diplo annexation cost, costs, liberty, desire, and subjects and vassal contributions, missionary strength, trade efficiency, 1 extra colonist, morale of armies, and even advisor cost reduction with heavy ship combat ability. But when choosing your own ideas, I highly recommend you go for exploration ideas as your first idea set, since you want to actually explore Australia and colonize it before the Europeans arrive. Similarly, you want to go into the African nodes and take over the rich gold mines and even make your way to the New World through the western part of the American continent. You don't really need to go for expansion ideas to colonize the Indonesian archipelago, as your mission tree offers you pretty much plus 50 settlers until the end of the game in all of these provinces that are not yet colonized, as long as you have 1 colonist. So you can get 1 colonist from exploration ideas. As a second idea group, I recommend going for quantity ideas, followed up by religious ideas, so you get a CB against everybody in the world, and even economic ideas later down the line, which mixed in with the minus 15 dev cost and with quantity economic means you're gonna play toll like crazy from a very early time in the game. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. If we get 1,000 likes on this video, I'm also gonna do a guide for the nation of Malacca. And guys, if you do want to support the channel, consider subscribing. It would really help me out so much and encourage me to make more videos like these in the future. And I also want to give a very big thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much, guys, for all the support you've been offering me. I wouldn't be here without you right now. If anybody else wants to become a patron or a channel member, you can check the links in the description. So until the next one, have a great day, everybody.